Okay, this was unexpected. I finished the last recording and then it just sent me into my mind again. And I was thinking about the mirroring aspect and how I was like, what are you trying to show me, universe? Parts of that of myself that I haven't like that I've forgotten. And that got me thinking on the way that people see us and see within us things that we cannot see yet. I've had this happen quite a few times, and I know I keep bringing up human design, but like part of my profile type is that like that's a thing. People see your greatness and like the good things within you that you cannot see, you're blind to. And I remember in the past, someone had mentioned that I was like charming, and I didn't even know what the fuck that meant. I was like, I don't know what that means, but if it's there, then it's natural. Cause yeah, never been told that. Have no clue what it is. Thanks. But then I go and meet new people, new friends, and they tell me the same thing. Like you've got charm. Like you have an innate ability to have charm, charisma, more specifically. And I was like, what? What is that even? Like I don't get it. um, and this has happened in numerous ways along my life. And it's a good thing and a bad thing because sometimes they see stuff that you're not ready to see, or they'll see things that they want you to be. There it goes back to that projection, and this is part of my profile. And in childhood, it got it was the, oh, you're so smart, you're gonna go onto college and be successful and make all the money and get us out the hood. It was that. But me, I'm just a traumatized little kid here. I'm not even making I'm surviving, dude. Like I have no plans. And then suddenly you don't live up to their expectations and those projections that they had for you. That whole narrative and story of what they saw in you. Yes, it is there, but you didn't see that yourself. You know, you didn't want that for yourself. But now because you didn't live up to their expectations and projections, suddenly you're the failure. Now they're disappointed in you. And that's how this works. That's how projection works. And I've said this before. I've noticed these things about me. I've I've seen it in my life. I've seen it and I've known it and I knew what it was in hindsight, you know? Um, and hearing it in these profile videos that I'm watching on YouTube and seeing other people have the same experiences and calling it out for exactly what it is, it's very eye opening and validating. And I had to work through some of those, like those disappointments and those failure thingies, because I knew they weren't me. I knew I was still going to be okay with whatever I did choose to do. And it's like I go through these things and I see a different angle than what they're doing, than what they're like mentioning. Like I healed it in this way, but then years later, I understand that it's projection. And then that was like an eye opening thing. If that makes any sense, it's like I was healing it as I'm not a failure. Those were their projections onto me. That doesn't mean I'm a failure. That's just what they view me as. I know internally I can do whatever the hell I want, you know, uh, and I'll be good at it. I measure my success in this way. My value as a person is in this. They place value here when I never placed it there. That's how I healed it in the past. And then since this new like awakening, because I know the spiritual path, you cycle back a lot. Um, with this new awakening of finding out this design, it's like that was their pure projection and expectations of me. You know, you see another level of it. It's the same thing you healed already and got rid of, but you get a greater understanding of it. And I think that's what I'm looking for with all these systems. Like I'm trying to find more more ways to look at things just to expand my own understanding of myself in different ways and different lenses and from a broader perspective of my little place in the universe. Uh, and then it came out again recently, within the last couple years, actually. Well, actually, maybe even last year, because that's when I started these voice memos. I started using voice memos because I was tired and I didn't have energy to type to people, and they kept telling me, "Yo, your voice is calming. You're very like, I could listen to you and go to sleep to you." And I got so self-conscious about that because I have an inner wound where I don't want to talk. I have childhood wounds where I went mute and silent for most of my life. Even to this day, like I'm still silent most of the time. I just observe, and I don't want to hear that. I'm not ready to hear like, "Yo, your voice is awesome." Like, get out of here. There's like insecurities and wounds there. It's like I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that. I'm not gonna listen to it. So I put my fingers in my ears like a cartoon. Um, but then I go to Twitter and I started leaving voice memos there because at the time Twitter had a voice memo feature, and I was just like felt called to do these essentially, but on Twitter in a shorter amount. And a lot of teachers on there said the same thing. They're like, "Yo, you're so calming. Like, you need to do audiobooks. Can you do meditation videos?" Like, they gave me all kinds of ideas. And I wasn't ready to hear that shit. It's like, what? How am I even going to do that? Um, but what it did was it helped me accept that my voice is powerful because I've been working on this. Even before they said all this, I was working and looking into my inner wound for throat issues, throat chakra, and why I went silent. And some of it, I still don't even know why, but I think it's just because I was neglected. My needs didn't matter. My voice didn't matter. So why would I bother using it? Um, but as I've grown and been on my journey and healing inner things, I've looked at it and I've worked on it, and I started seeing it in my chart as well. There's like this big old kite configuration that's touching my Lilith, my moon, and my Jupiter, and it's all touching my Mercury. And the placements that they're in say like voice is good, voice has influence, voice is powerful. It's the second house, the 12th house, the ninth house, which is like godly, wisdom, like higher learning, higher power energy, like fortune. And in my fifth house, which is creative expression, and it's in Libra, which is, I probably shouldn't have said all this because people, if you're smart enough, you can figure out somebody's entire chart off of two placements, and I just gave out like half of them. But I was trying to understand this little kite symbol here because it's like a prominent energy. There's a part of me that resists it, and that's the opposition to the moon, the Mercury opposition to my moon. It's like sometimes I feel like I feel a lot, but I can't put it into words. And then other times I process the emotions logically, and that I can put into words. It's such a weird energy. But looking at it all, it painted the picture. The second house is a Taurus house, even though I have Cancer there. Cancer and the moon kind of rule the voice. Um, Taurus, I have Jupiter there, and that's a prominent thing for voice as well. So it's like, and I saw this elsewhere as well, where I was like, yo, I got a powerful voice. In that I can manifest anything that I want and it will come true. I've tested it and it does happen, and it's kind of spooky. But then I kind of fear it as well because you know the monkey's paw. You can ask for something, you'll get it, but it may not be how you wanted it. Uh, I don't know. I just don't want to manifest anything, but I know it can work. But I just don't want to. I don't know. I just figure the destiny's gonna align. Like everything's gonna align for me. If what I'm meant to have is gonna come and find me, what I'm meant to experience will find me. Um, But that touches on this voice stuff. I started embracing it. I started working on it. I started using these voice memos more intentionally. Like, let me put my words and my voice into these messages. Let people find me through these recordings. Yes, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard, but let me do it anyway. Because it is like relaxing to talk, which is interesting because it's such a surprise. If you meet me IRL, I could chill with you for an hour and I won't say much. But on here, the words just flow. Like I can speak for 20 minutes and it's like, oh, holy shit, I spoke for 20 minutes. Like, whoa. um, and I just started embracing it. Like people saw it, I was seeing it, so let me talk more. Let me invest in a nice mic, a decent mic. Let me share my wisdoms every now and then when I have the energy to. And that's part of my profile as well. People see your things and they call you out for them. And then it's up to you to respond to them like, huh, let me check out audiobooks actually. I've never read I've never read aloud, but maybe it'd be fun. But then I started doing tarot reads just for fun and just between friends, and I was drawn to using the voice memos because it was just easier than typing out the whole thing. Which, as a mercurial, I can type. I can write words if I want to. That was another thing they called out on me. You should write a book. You should write a memoir. But I don't know. I know that's like what I'm supposed to do because it feels like I'm supposed to leave it all my wisdoms in a book, like create a Bible of crazy. Um, but we'll see. It's in due time when it happens. I just feel like it'll be depressing, man. How do you talk about how much trauma you went to? Doing it on posts on Patreon and Twitter here and there, yeah, like it breaks it up. But to sit down and talk about yourself and your stories and everything that messed with you, all the things you witnessed in one go, like that's a big emotional stab that I don't have the energy or space for right now. But breaking it up into little 20-minute pieces like this, okay. Like there's just gonna be a whole chapter in there of all the traumatic stuff that I witnessed growing up. Like it wasn't even stuff that happened to me per se, but it happened to those around me, and it was just traumatizing to see. And how do you heal from that? How do you talk about that? Mhm. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting that I'm still trying to figure these out, like these gifts, these talents, because it's like you're naturally good at them. My voice, I had no clue it was calming. I had no clue people wanted to hear it. I didn't know it was powerful because to me, it's just my voice. To me, it's just my words. That happened when I first started writing on Twitter. I would put these wisdoms and my experiences and my trauma posts on there, and people kept telling me, "Yo, you're so eloquent. Yo, I needed to hear this," and that stuck with me. That encouraged me to do it more, honestly, and that's what this 5-2 profile needs. It needs to be called out like that. That's a big thing I keep hearing repeated, like you being called out for your talents and your gifts, because to us they're just any little thing, which I've spoken about. I had a whole voice memo on this. How to us, it was from Fruits Basket, the anime. That's what it was. The onigiri in a fruit basket. To us, we don't see the little umeboshi special symbol on our back because it's just us. But other people can see how special everything is. And I feel like that's what these connections do. That's what these mirrors are for. And that's why, especially with my profile, the 5-2 profile, people call me out for these things because I need to hear them. I need to be told those things because to me, they're just me. They're not special. It's just me being me. Another thing, like I did see, like, because you can see these things too. If you pattern recognize enough, you can see some of your talents. Like I saw I was a safe space for people. Like I saw with minimal effort I could help people. I can talk them down from the ledge, so to speak, and literally, but you know what I mean. Um, Giving people that space, the emotional safety to do it, the sacred. It was this. It felt like a sacred gift within me, and I kept seeing it. How I, with little minimal effort, people who come to me and like connect to me, they will open up to me. I don't have to pry. I don't have to dig. Like it just naturally comes out. They naturally reveal all their backstories and their traumas and what they're working on, what their hang up is, and then I give my perspectives on it. I give my experiences on it, and it somehow unlocks something in them. I've seen this countless times, and it was just interesting knowing that that's a part of my profile as well. It's so crazy seeing these things, man. It's like, what do you mean that's this channel? Uh, and one of the other things that was in that video, well, these videos, because there's multiple, I find them, just obsessing over them and finding as much as I can about these systems and these channels and these gates and these lines. Um, One of them had mentioned, oh, I lost my train of thought because I looked at my tree outside. Okay, I paused and remembered. Yeah, one of them had mentioned that part of the 5-2 profile is for people to find you, you help them, and then they're not necessarily meant to stay in your life. Sometimes they come for a season and then they go their separate way. And it was like a wow moment because I had always seen that and it always used to bug me. It was like, am I not meant to have friends? Am I not meant to have permanent people in my life? Like, why am I always feeling used like this? And it took some healing to go through that, to come to an understanding of that and an acceptance of that. But I remember I used to have like a metaphor for it that I felt like a spiritual gas station. People on their path would find me, come fill up, come get snacks, come have some laughs with the clerk, and then go about their way. And it was kind of like rooted in a little bit of like not insecurity, but like not even low self-worth. It was just like a I felt it as fact. And it could come across as like low self-worth or whatever. Like, yo, why do you view yourself as a gas station? But that's what it felt like. It always felt like that. Like people just come fill up and then go about their way. I help them with their problems, but then when I have my own problems, I got to go to myself and heal them by myself. And it used to bug me. But man, hearing that in that video, just like, damn, where were you 10 years ago? Because that used to bug me because it was like a sore spot because my family would ignore me for the most part. And the only time they would call me, talk to me, like come see me would be when they needed me. But other than that, I got ignored. And it used to be such a sore spot. It's like, I guess that's all I am for, service to others, which that's how I've lived my life. And I still live my life that way. And specifically for family, they're like a soft spot. But it used to bug me, being like used like that. Um, until I just made peace with it. But then hearing that in that video, just like, wow, you're telling me that specific insecurity, hang up, emotional turmoil was like designed. It's in my profile. Can't be helped. Um, Over the last 2 years, though, I worked on it because I became conscious of it, and I just started being okay with people drifting out of my life. I would call them a friend because we would connect so deeply, and they'd share stories, and it'd be close, and then all of a sudden they'd just go back to their world and then disappear, and it felt like I was used sometimes. But I started being okay with it because, like, I don't have the energy for a lot of people. I barely have an energy for the ones that I do have close to me. And I just became okay with it, like let the drift off happen. Because I used to try to, like, keep them going, but now I just let them fall and accept that, hey, they got what they needed. Now they can advance on their spiritual path, which is if you think about it, it's kind of a privilege to have that as your spiritual gift, having that be your essence. You help people on their path. They're lost, they're stuck, they're heading down a negative path. They come to you, they get an experience, they get wisdom, they get you, they get your light, and it sets them on a different path that's better and higher, potentially, because you never know where people are going to choose. But I feel everybody who came across me ended up better in the long run. Yeah, some of them may have hurt when the fall offs happened, but I feel like it all worked out in the end. It set them on what they needed and their path. That was also another, like, kind of a gift that I rejected and then accepted and then rejected. I'm like back and forth on it. It's like that leader teacher part of my North Node and the 5-2 profile and like just what's within me. People naturally see and feel a leader. And as soon as I read that in my astrology, when I first started learning astrology, I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not trying to teach people. Who needs to listen to what I've got to say? No, I'm not doing that. Hard rejection. um, but when you think about it, it's a cool path because you don't have to go. It's like the people who come to you, like the students who come to the teacher, they don't take the teacher home with them. No, they're there for the lesson. The teacher doesn't do the work for them. They get the lesson, they get the wisdom that they need, and then they go apply it to their own lives outside. So it's kind of a cool path. I still reject it here and there because, like, I don't want to be responsible for people. But I framed it the way I like healed that little wound because it was a little wound where I was like, I don't want to talk. That requires effort. That requires energy. That requires my voice. That requires me speaking and writing. No, thank you. People can help themselves. I helped myself. They can help themselves. uh, but the way I healed it is like I reframed it from teacher leader into living by example, living and showing people, not telling them, not preaching to them, not giving them your Bible, but just straight up showing them, like, yo, life after trauma is possible. Yo, living in unity with the divine is possible. Yo, living with your shadows is possible. Yo, getting over depression is possible. Yo, getting over hardship is possible. It's all these little things: healing abandonment wound, healing voice wound, healing material scarcity, poverty wounds. All these little things: how to have joy, how to find joy, how to create purpose out of your past. This is how you live in alignment by being an example. So it hits that Pisces North Node. And that's how I was able to like come to terms with it and embrace it. Like, I can do that. Just me, my existence is teaching, it's healing people, it's helping people. And you may have to do something like that if you're on your path and stuck and rejecting it. Try to reframe your mind. Try to reframe, because there's no this, like, your path isn't set. Your destiny isn't set. Yeah, you're going to end up where you're going to end up, but there's a million ways you can be a teacher. There's a million ways you can be a leader. I can get on and do YouTube videos, like, boom, there's one aspect. I can get on and go do life coaching, help people IRL, boom. I can do mentorships online, boom. There's so many ways. Just me posting to the void like this can help people and teach people and show people how to do it. There's so many ways. Don't get stuck on a title or a label because none of that matters. If you're happy doing it, it's alignment. That's your purpose. And a lot of the times, like I said, with the types and the personalities, you're already going to be living it by design. Whether you like it or not, you're going to end up doing what you're already meant to if you're not already doing it. Because a lot of the time, the people who aren't even like tapped in or connected spiritually, if you look at them, they're living their blueprint. If you finally get their birth chart or whatever, and it's cool to see because it's like there's no wrong answers. Through everything, you're gonna end up where you're meant to. You're gonna be doing what you're here to do, and that's really cool. You're gonna play your part. You're gonna play your story. You're gonna play your role, and it's really cool. And along the way, you're gonna meet people, and they're gonna show you those those little bits and pieces to help you get there. They're going to complete your puzzle. They're going to mirror you. They're going to show you. They're going to call you out. Don't immediately reject them. Listen to them. Make space for it. I used to immediately reject all of it. I'm like, nope, that ain't me. Nope, I ain't doing that. Nope. Not going down that path. I'm still stubborn like that though. But I've started being open to some stuff like that. Like, okay, I'll put it on the back burner. I'll keep it in mind. I'll hear you. I'll hear you out what you see. But it's on my time when I decide to embrace those things or look into them or practice or dive into it, which I think is healthy. And that was the thing. Like, that was one of the lessons that I learned with the whole projection thing. People want you to do this and that, but it's their expectations. It's their stuff. It's not yours. You decide what your timing is. You decide what your gifts are. You decide how you use your gifts. You decide everything. They can see it all they want. They can project onto you all they want. But it doesn't mean you have to live up to it. You live up to it how you want to. You're the leader of your life. Those gifts are yours for a reason, yes, but you apply them how you want to. But yeah, I just wanted to keep going. I have 26 minutes. See what I mean? And I think I got energized doing the last one. That's how I know this is in alignment because they energize me sometimes. Actually, no, they always do. It's just rare that I get another tangent when I get off and then boom, right back. So I'm going to upload another one today. And then we'll see when I get back. Hope this is helpful. Bye.